Hey folks, this is Rob from Learn by the Drop at learnbythedrop.com. Learn by the Drop is a place to learn Drupal. And this is the beginning of a new series of video lessons that focuses on getting started with Drupal. And in this lesson, we're going to install Drupal on a Windows machine, install Drupal on a local host, so it's not on a web server, it's on your computer. And this is really the best way to get started and the best way to play with and learn Drupal, in my opinion. So the first thing you need to do in order to make this happen is you need to head over to Drupal.org, and you're going to have to download the latest release of Drupal, and you'll always find that on the home page there. And if you click download Drupal, you should see a dialog that asks you to whether you want to open it or save it. You want to save it, and what you want to do is you want to save that to a directory on your hard drive. Now I already have this version downloaded, so we don't need to download that. So you're going to have to download Drupal, and then once you download it, you should use a zip utility to unzip it to a folder on your hard drive. The next thing you're going to need on your Drupal shopping spree is you're going to need something called WAMP Server. Now what WAMP Server is, and that's at wampserver.com. What WAMP Server is basically Apache, MySQL, and PHP, and this contains everything you need in order to install Drupal on your local machine. So you're going to want to go to wampserver.com, and you're going to download that. And just click. You can see here if you click on WAMP Server 2, and on this page right here is where you can download it. You just click download, and it'll bring you to this site, and you'll see it'll give you the option to save the file. So you want to download WAMP Server 2 to your local machine, and you're going to want to install that. And maybe, you know, if you're following along, you can pause the video, download and install it, and then come back. Okay, so once you've installed WAMP Server, you should see on your screen, you should see an icon here for WAMP Server. So what you want to do is you want to double click WAMP Server icon, and that will start WAMP Server up. And what you should see in your system tray right here is a little icon for WAMP Server, and if you left click that, you can see that it gives you some, you know, general options including exit and language. And if you click about, you can also see what version of WAMP Server you're running. If you left click it as opposed to right clicking it, you will then see this menu, and you have the option here to put your WAMP Server online, and you also have access to the different tools that WAMP Server provides. MySQL, PHP, Apache, which is the local web server, and you have some shortcuts here as well. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to put WAMP Server online by clicking there, and then in a moment or two it should start it up, and you could see that now it says WAMP Server online. And now what we want to do is we want to get into installing Drupal now. And before we can install Drupal, the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to go to phpMyAdmin. And phpMyAdmin is a utility that that allows us to manage databases. Okay, so you go to phpMyAdmin. This is the screen that you're going to see. In phpMyAdmin, when you see this screen, all you need to do is just create a database, and we're going to call this Drupal _learning, and we're not going to change anything, and we're just going to click create. Okay, so we've got our database, and it's called Drupal Learning, and that's really all we need to know right now. Just remember that it's called Drupal _learning. Now the next thing you're going to want to do is You're going to want to drop that in your You're going to want to drop Drupal into your www directory. So I already have a version here. I'm going to drop another version in here. I'm going to create a folder called, let's just call it Drupal 2. And that's going to be empty right now. So we're going to go to our download of where I downloaded Drupal, and that's going to be, in this case, is going to be in temp Drupal 6, Drupal 6.8. I'm just going to copy everything. So do a Control A and a Control C, and then go to Drupal 2, and I'm going to paste it. And so when you paste that there, you'll be ready. Once that's pasted, you'll be ready to install Drupal on the localhost. Okay, so we've got everything in, if we look at www, I've got my Drupal 2 there, and that should be in C, WAMP, www. There's Drupal 2. And the next thing we're going to want to do is go to localhost and install that. We can close that. Let's open up a new tab. Now before we do that, there's one setting that I want you to adjust on WAMP server. If you come down here to WAMP server and we click it, I want you to go to Apache and Apache modules. And if you come down and you scroll down, I want you to make sure that the rewrite module is checked, and that's very important because that allows us to have what we call in Drupal clean URL. So make sure that the rewrite module is checked, and then once you've done that, you can come back to the screen here, and we can get ready to we can install Drupal. Okay, so we should be all set. Let's go to, now we want to navigate over to the folder in the www directory, and in that case we just need to go to localhost, and then remember the folder we created was Drupal 2. Okay, and now we see the Drupal install screen, which is good. That's what we want to see. We want to click Install Drupal in English. And here we get this message. The Drupal installer requires that you create a settings file as part of the Drupal installation process. So basically, what we have to do is copy default settings.php and make that PHP. So let's do that right now. If we go to Sites, Default, and we see default.settings.php, let's make a copy of that. Copy and paste that. And then we're going to rename this settings.php. Okay. Now we should be good. So let's try that again. I'm just going to refresh this page. Okay, now we've got our database configuration screen coming up, so that's good. Now what we want to do is enter our database name, and remember we called our database Drupal_learning. So that's what we're going to put in here. Now since we didn't do anything when you installed WAMP server to create a password, your database username should be root, and there should be no password. There are also some advanced options here which we shouldn't need to change. Our database is localhost, and then we want to save and continue. We now see that it says installing Drupal, and next we expect to see maybe some messages. Okay, so now it's given us the option to set. Hey, thanks for watching this YouTube preview of this lesson. YouTube only allows us 10 minutes, so if you want to see the remainder of the lesson, please head over to learnbythedrop.com, where you can also download a premium version of this lesson that is encoded at a much higher resolution.